In this video, we enter our first race after finally getting back to A+ last time out. We're in a lobby with the big boys now, so let's see whether we can compete and whether we are quick enough to stay there. Hey guys, Erie is here. See, told you nothing was going to change, and welcome along to another video. If this is your first time here and you like watching all sorts of sim racing related stuff, then subscribe now and click the bell icon as well so you get notified of every video I upload and you don't miss a thing. Long-time subscribers of the channel will know while Suzuka is one of my favourite tracks, my Achilles heel is here. And it has always been the hairpin. I've just never been able to get it right, no matter how many times I tried. So I went and attacked my weakness using the circuit experience. I wanted to spend a little time here attacking and trying to fix this specific weakness by getting this section completed in a time where I wasn't offended, which was about 15 seconds. Usually, if you were to spend time practicing in the usual manner, here at Suzuka it would take ages to have that many goes at the hairpin because you'd only get one shot every 2-minute lap. But using the circuit experience here, something that I recommend you all do if you've got an issue that you want to fix, it is just like a driving range in golf. If you want to work on the drives, you can hit 10 drives in a row. And well, I wanted to work on the hairpin, so that's exactly what I did. I had about 10 goes and it didn't take me too long, to be honest, to get my time under 15 seconds, a second quicker than the gold. Now admittedly I wasn't in the car I was going to be using for the race, but the principle of getting in and getting out of that corner is exactly the same. So after spending about 5 minutes practicing on something that would usually cost me 20 minutes, I went on and chose my manufacturer. So after flipping and flopping around a couple of manufacturers in recent seasons, I came home to Lexus. This car just feels so comfortable for me. At the live events I saw that all cars compete with one another, so I just thought to myself, why can't I do it with a Lexus? And I went on here to do some full lapping practice. As you can see here, I'm out doing some practice. I did about 15 minutes of practice for this one. I did 7 laps, learning each lap and getting faster and faster each time I got on. And by the end, I was just over a second away from the top 10, which I was quite happy with. And to give you some comparisons, as they were on the leaderboard at the time that I did this, there'll be some drivers that you will all recognise and I can compare myself to. So after that session, I was half a second off Kai, 1.3 seconds off Tijni, and 2 seconds off Mikhail Hizal, who you may know as TRL Lightning, the champ. So I was really happy with that, considering it's a 2-minute-ish lap. Losing a second a minute to the quickest drivers in the world, I'll take that, I think. And I think on that note, we're ready, and into the race session we went. So moving into the pre-race lobby here, I found out I was car number 11 in this one, but look at that strength of field. They were all either A+ or S ranked drivers, and as you can see here as we come out, qualification has changed. We've now only got 5 minutes rather than 10, which essentially makes this a super pole situation, which means you've got one shot at doing a quick lap for those who aren't familiar with the super pole format. And rather than changing the time, I just wish they would just let us change the fuel levels. Let us choose please Polyphony. So due to those time restraints, quali for me was going to go like this. Fuel burn for the first lap, come in for some new boots, fuel burn on the next lap, and then go for it. Now this is quite risky. Part of me wanted to just get a banker in and then go for it, but that would have meant that I wasn't on the freshest rubber and the lowest possible fuel level, so I had to go for it on the very last lap. Now I timed it up and I crossed the line with 16 seconds to go left of the session, knowing that if I mess this up I'd be starting from the back and no doubt be back down to A rank after just one race. But I managed to hook it up thanks I'm sure to the preparation beforehand, and managed to put in a 1 minute 59.404, just 3/10 off pole and as we were one of the last ones to cross the line, we weren't going to lose any further positions and we'd be starting in 3rd place for this one. My door number was number 11, remember, so a good result here, I think you will agree. So here I am, lined up for the grid, going through my usual pre-race routine, minding my own business. I don't know if you saw there, but up ahead the 2nd place driver, VLX Crazy, just disappears. Now I don't know what happened to him there, but we're up to 2nd before the race even gets underway, so I'll absolutely take that one. And now that I'm in the highest rank, I'm going to change the way that I race a little bit. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that as the race unfolds, but for this first part of the race, I just want to hang on to 2nd and hang on the slipstream of the guy up in front, which means I have to stay within 1.5 seconds of him. Today I am fighting the good fight for all those who don't have enough time to be as quick as they want due to family, work and general life commitments. So let's see if the guy who rocks up with 30 minutes worth of practice can take home a victory in an A+ and S ranked stacked lobby. Let's go. So whilst this is going on in the background, I am going to introduce the race. Actually, no. Before I do that, let's comment on today's McDonald's livery and give credit where credit is due. Today's livery is brought to you by Darwin Asson. Great job and thanks for the livery, my friend. As you can imagine, I'm loving it. Right, so this race is the first round of the new Manufacturers Series. We are here at Suzuka, obviously, one of my favourite tracks as I've mentioned before, and those of you who have been long-term subscribers will very much know this. My actual favourite combo on the game is Suzuka, but in the Group 2 Super GT cars. But for now, we're in the trusty Lexus. The iconic duo of Eriez and Lexus are back together again. It may not be the most overpowered car, but it works for me. I feel comfortable in it, which is the most important thing. I know what it's going to do and when, which is very high on my personal list of priorities. I could have gone with the quickest manufacturer, but if I can't control it and I bin it, it'll all be absolutely for nothing. So now that I've introduced the race, I wanted to talk a little bit about strategy. So in this race we actually have access to all 3 tyre compounds, which I think is great. But unfortunately they haven't kept it for future rounds. I really wish they did. Which means for this one though that you can choose any tyre compound you want, which is great. It frees up so many different strategic options. Do we go for the softs, meaning we're quicker, but then the tyres wear quicker, we need to do more pit stops? Or do we go for the hards, which are slower, but we have to pit less? It gives a great element of strategy to the racing in my opinion, and I know it hasn't been, but I really hope they do move to this for every single race. And our strategy here, and what we've chosen, is going to be the 2-stopper, staying on the softs throughout the entire race. But I wanted to share with you, as I mentioned above, my thoughts as they go deeper than just the tyre and fuel strategy now. So what is my mentality in this one? As it's a bit different as I alluded to earlier in the video. The 2-stop strategy in this race works out fine. In theory, stopping at the end of lap 4 and lap 8. But for this first stint, I want to just see how my car and the car that we're looking at straight ahead evolve throughout the stint. So what I mean by that is if I, by the end of the stint, feel that I'm struggling at the end, I will need to go early and go for it in the final stint. But if I find I can look after my tyres and he's the one who is looking in a worse state come the end of his stint, I will wait as late as possible to make the move, potentially even until the final lap to try and get this win. Now fast forwarding here, we're going to go to lap number 4 now and towards the end of the stint, and I know he is struggling. I can tell this as we come in, as he has gone wide a couple of times. He has been starting to fishtail on the exit as well, which is down to the deteriorating grip on his tyres. Now this is good news for us, as we've been driving around behind him here well within ourselves. I'm feeling confident that I'm correct, but I will test that theory again here in this stint to confirm what I'm seeing, so I can then act on it in the 3rd and final stint. You guys in the comments section always compliment me when I do and ask me more about my racecraft. So as I mentioned, I'm going to really concentrate and try and share as much as I can with you, with this one and tell you why I did what I did and my thought process behind it, which I hope will then go and help you to all go and get better results. So first things first, you're probably thinking, Rory, why haven't you passed this guy already? Well, I haven't for a number of reasons, despite feeling that I'm quicker than him. So first thing to remember is, guys, it's not who is leading the race for the longest that takes the spoils, it is the one who leads the race when we cross the finish line. And here in a lobby full of A+ and S rank drivers, I'm going to have to do everything I can to try and bring this one home. And it's not always about who drives fastest, it's often about who drives smartest in these ones. So secondly, after covering point number 1, this is currently a race, as you can see by the mini-map, between just the two of us. We're the only ones who are battling for this win. We have broken, as you can see, away from the pack there, and if I start challenging him, he will start driving defensively, which will slow us both down because he won't be using optimum lines, he'll be coming in tighter, which means he's carrying less speed, etc, etc. And that may well give the opportunity for the other drivers to potentially catch up, which neither of us need, quite frankly. Point number 3. The fuel situation is touch and go. Currently, he's just there up ahead punching a great big hole in the air for me, and I'm just sitting in his toe. This is allowing me to save fuel without even doing anything. But if I feel I need to, I can shift early, because as I'm in the toe, I can catch up even in a higher gear with lower revs. Plus in the final stint, the last thing I want to do is to be worrying about fuel when I'm contesting for the victory. I mean, I hate worrying about fuel anyway, so definitely I don't want to be doing that when I'm contesting for a victory. And finally, point number 4, and the last reason why I don't want to overtake him is, if I admit it, it's the pressure. Quite frankly, I could do without it. If I take the opportunity to overtake him here, then the tables will turn and the things that I've just outlined above are all going to work against me. And knowing me, I'm just going to make a mistake, which is going to cost me either time or even getting a penalty, which, to be quite honest, you don't know what you're going to get at the moment with this penalty system. I'm not going to harp on it too much, but the last thing I want to do is to even risk getting a ginormous penalty, which in a race as close as this could be the difference between the win and second place. So I'm going to stick to the plan and bide my time here, something I call woosah, resisting any egotistical urge, which I think that's a word, egotistical, I don't know. But either way, I'm going to resist the urge to overtake to lead this one and sit behind him here until it's time to make the move. Now, whilst I've got you, there is a rather large event taking place next weekend that would usually clash with the usual video schedule, and that is the Daytona 24-hour race on iRacing, the opening event of the 2020 iRacing special event calendar. Now, I know you're not all iRacing fans, but I cannot wait. Myself and some of the other ERT guys are going to team up and attempt to bring home our best result yet. There are always so many thrills and spills in this one, and they are so much fun to take part in. And I know whilst you're not all iRacing fans, as I say, the majority of you absolutely love them when you hang around with them. So I cannot wait to share the emotional roller coaster that is a 24-hour race with you all. It is, for me, my favourite content to make on this channel, and I also consider it to be the flagship content of the channel. Now, the live stream will be going live from around midday on next Saturday the 18th of January. I'll still be releasing my usual video in the morning though, so you can still get your Gran Turismo fix, don't you worry. After which I hope you'll all head over and join me, even if iRacing isn't your thing, as these are special, really, really special, these things, and they're just absolutely fantastic. It's such a good thing to be a part of for both myself as the content creator, and I think those who are in the chat all the time. We get stream MVPs who join us for the entire 24 hours. It's absolutely mental. I know they love it as well, and it'd be really good to have your support to get myself and the rest of the team through, which can almost, is pretty much a certainty to be quite an emotional race. Plus, if you're there, you will see something for the very first time on the channel. The game as we know it is about to change, but you can check that out on my Facebook, on my Twitter and my Instagram pages. I'm going to release a little bit on each one of those to promote those if you want to know about it, as I'll be announcing the stuff, as I say, on those. I have put all the links, if you want to go and follow those now, in the description of the video down below. So that's enough of the public service announcements for now. Let's get back to the race. Here on the final lap of our stint, you will see here that his tyres are again in a bad way coming to the end of this stint, which means we're going to go in on the second option once we get this pit stop done. So coming out of the pits here, you'll notice that I am always the gentleman. I'm going to stay in the white line here because that's what you should do. He doesn't, but never mind. So we're out of the pits, half a second behind the leader. I usually top up with a bit of fuel. I didn't have to do that there because I'm staying behind him until I get my chance to strike. So he's going to continue to punch the hole through the air for me, as I mentioned earlier. And also, as I mentioned earlier, what I don't want to do is overtake him and go too early, because then I'll be left vulnerable on one of these straights to be overtaken again. Our aim here is to be first across the line at the end of lap 12, and there are no prizes for being ahead on the 9th, 10th or 11th lap. So we're sitting here just continuing to pile on the pressure, and you can see here that the cracks are starting to show as he cuts the first degner there and is going to get a 0.5 second penalty for his troubles. Now we're going to stay on board here. As you can see up ahead, he's got his penalty and he's going to be serving that this lap. So I want to stay with him as we come down here into Spoon. You can see there the little yellow bar as well, just filling up, giving us a warning that he's going to be serving his penalty soon, and he's going to be doing it coming through these gates that you can see up ahead. And as he serves his penalty here, keep an eye out. Rather than staying to the left, he then starts drifting to the right. So I preemptively move across, and I'm very, very glad I did, considering he unghosted just before we went past. Had I not done that and just stuck to my line, then there would have been contact, considering how the penalty system is right now, and who knows what we could have got. So I'm in the lead, which you think would be great, but that's not where I want to be here. Being self-aware and knowing my strengths and weaknesses, if I was to stay in front here, which I'm not going to do because I'm going to let him back past as he clearly wants to get through, there would be a heightened risk of me bottling it, if I'm quite honest, like I mentioned earlier. So if he goes for it, which he has, and tries to take the lead back, then I let him have it and stick to the plan. Plus also, if he's got a penalty once, if we keep up the pressure in the same manner that we are, there is another chance he could make another similar mistake. And as anticipated, as we come down towards the end of lap number 10 here, exactly what I thought would happen, happened. Now he has been flirting with the track limits of the Casio Triangle the entire race, every single lap, and unfortunately for him, he is going to cut it just that little bit too fine and get himself a 1 second penalty. Now that's a big difference to a 0.5 second penalty, and this is going to mean that this is my chance to make the move that is hopefully going to win me this race. Now the difference between a 0.5 second penalty and a 1 second penalty doesn't seem like much, but it's not just the penalty. Especially here at Suzuka, it's served on a long straight. I mean, it does on some other tracks as well, but Suzuka here, it's served on a long straight, which means a 0.5 second penalty is going to end up being a 1 second penalty-ish, and a 1 second penalty is going to be more like a 2 second penalty, which is going to be critical because that knocks him out of the slipstream and the toe, which is exactly what we've been relying on for this entire race. So now is the time to push. We're going to stay right behind him here so that when he serves his penalty, we give him absolutely no chance to hold on to our slipstream, and hopefully, because his tyres are going to go away from him as they have done on the previous 2 stints, we can do what we need to bring home this victory. So we're going to stay on board here as we come through this long sweeping right-hander here towards the first part of Spoon. There you go, there you can see the yellow bar filling up as we get closer to the gate here. But as we come through the second part of Spoon, we get a fantastic run on him actually, and to be honest, we could have made the move if we needed to. Now I do bounce off the rev limiter a little bit there, just thinking about other things, thinking about him serving his penalty, but it doesn't matter. Look at what him serving his penalty is going to do for us. Keep your eye on the delta here. It's just going to absolutely devastate his race. I do actually feel a little bit sorry for him because he had been doing quite well until that point. So we come through the Casio triangle here. Make sure that we do not cut any corners because we want to learn from others' mistakes, remember. And as we cross the line to start lap number 12 and the final lap in this one, the gap is now 2 seconds. So it speaks for itself. We're in a very, very good position here. He's out the slipstream. There's not really much he can do because, to be honest, his tyres are going to be shot. And as I mentioned in the last video, being aware of the outside factors in any race is absolutely key. So just to recap, we know the gap is 2 seconds. That's obvious, it's there on the delta. And although he owns the fastest lap of the race, his best lap is only 1/10 faster than me, and I know I also haven't been pushing, well, until this last lap that is, when I saw he got the penalty. So I have time in the bank if I feel I need it. But when I say push, I really mean push only as hard as I need to. We used the earlier stints to get to know how his car fared over the stints, and just like last time out at Fuji, we are aware of and then can react to our current situation. So I can just woosah here, concentrate on hitting my braking points and ensure I bring this one home. And we're going to stay on board here as we again come around the sweeping right-hander down into Spoon, because to be honest, winning a race like this just means so much to me. I really struggle with how little time I have to play this game, and you've seen it. You've seen pretty much all of it. I went to have a look at the circuit experience, did that 10 times, then had just seven laps of practice, and then with a good qualification session and then some decent racecraft, I managed to walk into an A+ and S rank lobby, and I've managed, as we come into the Casio triangle here, I'm going to spoil it for you, win the race. It just means so much to me, to be quite honest with you. I know it's just a game, but it's not just a game to me. You can see me there in the bottom left, how happy I am. And this has just capped off an absolutely great last week or so for me. Hitting 20k, getting to A+, and now winning my first race in this strength of a lobby. I can't really ask for much more. It does, however, pay me to watch others that I believe I could potentially be as good as if I had the time sit in lobbies above me. But I'm just going to be patient, and I'm just going to try and do the best I can with the time I have, because, as I say, this isn't the most important thing. But I'm determined to keep working, as I think I've shown flashes here to myself that I can get there despite these other commitments. So I'm going to definitely try and do it. Now, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to keep this victory little cutscene on, because it never ever happens. It's only happened 22 times in my entire career before this, so enjoy. I know I am. Moving on then, and looking on to our driver rating here, we've gone up from 51,649 points to 53,158, which is almost the highest driver rating I have ever had. And on that positive and high note, I think I'm going to end the video there, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do hit that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you haven't already. Remember, we've also now got merch too, so check out the Teespring store below and go get yourself some of that if you want to support the channel there. But thanks again so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.